getting a bit of just stick that back a wee bit. That's better. I can't tell if I'm on the internet yet. Oh no, the counter's going up. All right. Now I'm on the internet. Hello there, Mr. Beneath the Headphones. Hope you're doing well. Yeah, so this is a sort of I've been meaning to do something like this for a while because I want to get back into the old talking thing, and I realised that the less you do something, I need to change off the tab because I can see my face. It's just throwing me off. See, that never used to throw me off. I used to be able to look at my face and see this. I move my arms, right? But it's out of sync. It's a bit odd. Yeah, been doing good. Been doing, well, not really. But, you know, about as good as anyone sort of does in general. What's been going on? Started an account, tried to start an accounting course. Ended up sort of being, you ever seen that episode of Malcolm in the Middle? Where Hal ends up like controlling a pack of like greasy sort of bodybuilders. That happened to me in February with a gang of Muslim women. Didn't last very long. Got a little bit annoying actually, but we made a WhatsApp group chat. They asked me to make the WhatsApp group chat, and I made it, and I put the where's the exact thing for it? Oh, yeah, this. So I made this the cover for the WhatsApp group, and to this day, this is still it. And it's just a gang of like really, you know, your stereotypical sort of middle-aged Muslim woman, right? I don't know if any of you are Muslim or like know Muslim mothers or just old women. You know what that is, right? I don't know what it is, but for some reason, like around the time, what happened in December to do with Iran? Something happened with Iran. I can't remember what it was. Something bad. Something to do with Iran and Israel and America. I don't care what it actually was, but the point is that there was about 5 separate times when I finished recording a Johnny Mozza video, and then one of these women would come up to me and ask me about the thing in Iran, and I'd be, oh yeah, it's terrible, it's a dreadful situation. You know, I don't actually know what's going on there. I don't look at this shirt, look at this hair. Do you think that I'm a political informant, right? So I would just get these women coming up to me and saying, "Oh, you're a vlogger, yeah?" And I'd be like, "Yeah, I guess so." And they go, "Oh, you make a vlog on Iran," and I'm like, "On Iran?" And they'd be like, "Yeah, it's such a beautiful country," and I'd be like, "Yeah, I'm sure it is. You know, I've never been, but I've been to Turkey. And it's, you know, I'm not going to say it's close enough, but you know, I mean, it is." And then they'd sort of go, "Oh yes, you can you make video about situation in Iran?" I don't know what accent this is trying to be, but I had this quite a lot. People just asking me stuff about Iran, and I don't know, right? I don't know why people come up to this. Is the problem with, I'm not going to call myself a celebrity, but this is the problem with celebrities in general. People go up to them and go, "Hey, celebrity actor Ben Affleck, what do you think about the war in Israel?" I don't. How does he know, right? He's still trying to cope with his smoking addiction, right? Trying to get fucking Argo 2 off the ground or whatever. You know, he's not got time to think about this, right? So I don't get why we go to celebrities for these issues, right? Like, unless they're someone who's really into it, like Roger Waters, whether you agree with his opinions or not, I don't on everything, but sometimes he's kind of on the mark. So it's about 50-50. At least he's researched stuff. You can tell, like, even if I disagree with something he said, he's clearly like put way more research into it than I've ever bothered doing. You know, Yeah. Oh, good question. May 19th, 2024. So it's just over 2 years now. Oh, technically, I accidentally had a drink while I was in Prague a few weeks ago, because we went to me and Lydia went to see my friend Leo, who you might have seen him in a video. I can't remember if he's been in a video, but he's a friend of the channel regardless. We stayed with him, and we went to this big sort of fancy sort of event restaurant where everything's really dark, and it was dead nice there. But I had a thing of non-alcoholic beer, and I said to the guy, another one, and he gave me another one. And I drank it, and it turned out to be beer. Not his fault, you know. I mean, I could have made it more clear, you know, just a misunderstanding, but it didn't really change anything. Honestly, I feel I don't struggle with, because when I was about to quit alcohol, I thought it was going to be like I quit alcohol and then I am never going to enjoy myself again, right? And that's just it, you know, because I'd look forward to having a drink, right? Because I drank too much. So I'd look forward to when I was able to stop being sober. So I was terrified that feeling of like, oh, I want to drink would never go away, and I'd always be wanting for something. So, but it was weird because I genuinely don't remember what my last drink was or what situation it was. I don't know if it was just me at home. Actually, I think it might have been, but I don't remember what day. I don't remember anything about it. It wasn't a special day in any way. So there's a 1 next to this. Oh, okay, doesn't matter. Right. Yeah, in terms of how you feel, I mean, honestly, you get drunk along with other people if they are getting drunk, right? As in, they're drinking tequila after tequila, right? And they start going, right? You start going as well, you know, because it's not like a sober person is just this pure, sincere, utterly serious at all times, earnest person with nothing sort of fun to give across, right? They want to have fun and all that sort of stuff as well. So ultimately, it was. I don't really notice much of a difference, other than I don't wake up feeling like death anymore. My wallet's a bit light. My wallet's lighter. My wallet's heavier, I guess. What else? I wouldn't be able to do this channel. I'll tell you that if I was drinking. I mean, Jesus, I would have done videos drunk and said stupid shit, you know, that would have got me in trouble, or just like I'd look back on it and go, oh God. You know, I would have made fucking 2 a.m. bloody posts about bollocks, you know. So I couldn't have done this with that. And I feel like it was one of the best decisions I've ever made. But you know what? I don't know if it was a decision. It was almost like, imagine like dropping a bottle as like a metaphor, right? For quitting drinking. It was like that. I dropped a bottle and it smashed and I couldn't pick it up. That's fine. I'm not going to go licking the fucking floor for a bit of Bud Light, you know. Let's go, chat. Big up the stackers out there. Big love, Johnny mate. Cheers. I don't know what that means. Big up the stackers, but it sounds nice. So anyway, how are you all doing? Are you all, you know, positive and that? You know, summer's happening, so hence why I look like I'm currently sort of, I don't know, entering the heavenly planes. Yeah, I hope you're all doing well. Oh yeah, I should probably make sure that it's actually all chat, not just half the chat. I don't know why it always does that. It assumes that I'm only interested in the top brass. Money getters for the World Cup. Is that happening this year? God, yeah, it is. Fucking hell. Jesus. 2022. Yeah. 2022 World Cup. I swear that ended with England versus Italy. That was a good match, that. I'm not a big football. That's about all the football knowledge I actually have. And yeah, I know what you mean beneath the headphones. Yeah. I mean, I've not had the best sort of few months of it. I mean, I was going to keep doing those long videos that I was doing in January, but for some reason, I just completely stopped everything. Like, and this is what I swear I've said this in a video at some point, is that if you stop doing something, it's harder to start doing it than it is to just struggle through the the hardness, right? It's like I've got a mate. He was uploading every day at the start of the year. It was like a challenge to upload every day. He was uploading every day, and then he stopped around mid-February. He's uploaded once or twice since, and I just sort of think, if he hadn't stopped, I don't think his quality would have suffered as much as he might think it does. Because I know why I stopped. I stopped because I didn't want my content to stagnate, and I feel like it already was starting to stagnate. But from an outsider's perspective, no one noticed that they were going downhill, at least from the comments that I got. And I'm someone who I'm very aware of negative reception, right? Not in a bad way. I don't mind negative reception. Yeah, something like that. Oh yeah, right. So this is the plan for this live stream. I am going to pitch you an idea for a new project. And I'd like to get the email band involved with this. The email band was a thing we were doing last year that sort of it fell apart because I gave up on it, which was my fault. I didn't give up on it because I was sick of it. I gave up on it kind of because it just kind of got lost amongst all the other shit I was doing at the time. So what was I doing? I was doing a film, a YouTube channel, working, getting a driving license. I was doing driving lessons and theory tests and stuff. What else? I was just doing too much shit, right? And the email band just sort of, I thought the email band was going to be this small project that basically ran itself, and I would drop in every once in a while, and it would be an excuse, be a new thing for me to make videos about. But it didn't end up like that. That was the Euros in 2021. Still painful. We got knocked out by the French in 2022. Oh yeah, it was France. I remember the one with the Euros. It was England versus Italy. It ended up in penalties, and I swear I remember. It didn't become a controversy, so I must have been in the wrong there. But I remember watching it, and the points didn't add up. And I was thinking, Italy is just celebrating, and I'm thinking, hang on, England still had a chance. What's going on? It was sort of like that. My mate's trying to get me into football, unsuccessfully, but I do appreciate the attempt. You're back. Did you trip? I sent you my email some time ago. If you're doing collaborations, I mean, you say again. To be honest, I never did any, which is again my fault. Which is why this is my new pitch for this idea, right? The email band, volume 2, or proper version. So I've been working on this idea for a little while. I was trying to join this band called Nagra, who are knocking about in South London. And they're like a psych math rock sort of band. I met with a guy, and we got on well. We jammed kind of decently, and we tried to work on this one song. And I went there for the next couple of weeks, and we were trying to get the song figured out, but it wasn't quite working. You know what I mean? So I sort of said, right, what we should do is just sort of strip it back to basics. Like, let's just literally do like. That was shit, but. You could easily put something on this, right? So that was the idea. Just do something simple like that. And we went out for a smoke. And what happened is we just got talking, and we started talking about Dark Souls because we both like Dark Souls. But I think I was more into it than him. So I was sort of explaining to him about some stuff to do with the Dark Souls lore because I've gotten quite into it. Like the idea of the Age of Fire and the Age of Dark, which I used to think were allegories for reality and like empty void. But it turns out that's not really the case. It turns out that Age of Fire is, what was it? Age of Fire is kind of like the age where sort of horrible mutant fucking monsters are knocking about. And the Age of Dark is where they're not around. It's something to do with the primordial dragons. Anyway, the point is, we were talking about all this stuff, talking about all this sort of fantasy stuff, and I said to him, "You listen to Sigur Rós?" And he went, "Yeah, a little bit." And it's like, I don't particularly like Sigur Rós, right? Good band, but not for me. But there's something I do like about them, which is they made their own language and they wrote all the music in that language. And I just thought that was so cool. But no one would have heard of Sigur Rós if it weren't for that. Because look, I like Sigur Rós a little bit, but they're not that interesting. That they need that sort of thing going for them, right? I don't know why I'm slagging them off. I don't mean to be slagging them off that hard. If I'm going to slag anyone off, it's the Manchester Orchestra. Fucking shite. Anyway, point is that I was explaining to him about the language. And I thought, why don't we do something sort of like that, but with a whole fantasy world, right? So make this whole fantasy world, and we set the songs within that world. So we tell stories. Imagine if there was like a Lord of the Rings band and they had like songs set in that, but we're doing it for our own world that we've completely made up. So I've spent the past month and a half coming up with this world, and I'm going to try a little bit later to explain the basics of this world, because it's turned into this sort of like Elder Scrolls level in-depth lore, right, that I've been coming up with. Obviously, it's not that deep yet because I've only been working on it for a month and a half, but I've come up with like loads of different civilizations and races and like conflicts and stuff like this and ways of life and all that. And I want to use that whole world as a set piece for this band. And also we were talking about Cicada 3301, which I don't know if you know, it's that internet mystery. And I thought that's a perfect sort of marketing tool, isn't it? Because how many bands have any of you heard of Sorry Ghost? It's a band called Sorry Ghost, right? Now let me see if it comes up. I'm going to sound like I'm slagging them off here, but I'm not. I'm actually complimenting them, right? Because their music's kind of shite, but they are good musicians, right? So here we are. 46,000 views, 24,000 views, 58,000 views, right? And those are their popping music videos. So that's pretty good, isn't it? It's more than what I get. 179,000 subscribers. That's not on. Do you want to know where the views are coming from? It's not coming from the videos. It's coming from the shorts. So what you got here? Guitar Translator. What's the popular ones? Every band member when the crowd knows the lyrics. Releasing our guitarist before showtime, and it'll be something about how the guitarist is kept in a cupboard. You know, there's one about like the guitarist and the drummer. No, sorry, the drummer and the bassist like making out because they're so in love. You know, they're riffing on stuff to do with jokes, right? So I know it sounds like I've been slagging them off, but right, here's where it turns into a compliment, right? Who the fuck's heard of Sorry Ghost for the music, right? They're getting quite popular out there, right? Based off of these shorts. They're doing shows. They're doing this, that, and the other. They're working on music, right? Which I presume that's their actual passion. And then the shorts are just like a little thing that makes them, that pays the bills, you know? Because look, fucking 17 million views, 10 million views, 9.3 million views, 7.9 million views, 7.9 million views, 4.1 million views, 3.8 million views. They're making decent money, right? You know, maybe not enough to sustain all four of them, you know, full time, but at least enough to do well out of it. You know, I'm sure, because let me think. Well, my point generally is I want to do something like this, but I want my gimmick to involve the music more sort of fundamentally. And I figure a mystery around around a world is kind of a little bit more creative and also more weird, and it gives you a different sort of vibe. Like with Sorry Ghost, I feel like I could message them on Instagram and they would respond in depth and go, "Thank you so much for your message. It means the world to us." It's like, no, I don't want to do that. I want to go not necessarily the Death Grips route of never communicating with the audience at all, but just being a little bit more sort of hands off, right? Because the way to quell a rumor, right, is to comment on it yourself, right? Say there's a group of friends, right? And there's a rumor that starts that one of them is a murderer, right? So 4 friends, A, B, C, and D. D's the murderer. He didn't actually murder anyone. Let's just get that clear. But people are sort of thinking like, he might be a murderer. We better be a bit careful about it, right? If he comes out and he says, guys, I'm not a murderer, here's the evidence, they're just going to go, oh, shit, sorry. And that's it, you know? What we want is for man number D to just not comment on it at all. And the less he says, the more they'll think he's a murderer, right? And the more extreme they'll get about it, and the more ramped up they'll get. They'll get annoyed at him. They'll be like, how can this fucking murderers be allowed to walk around the streets? You know, all that kind of stuff. Why has he not been arrested? What's going on? Where's the crime report? All that. That's my plan. I plan to allow people to think that D's the murderer. So that's... And I was saying all of this to this guy, whose name I can't remember. I'm so shit at names. I mean, I've forgotten my own name. I mean, yeah, whatever. But point is that I want to make this band, email band, around this sort of thing. I feel like this is a nice basic core, which will, because I think the problem with the email band the last time is I basically came on camera and I was like, guys, I want to make an email band. We're just going to send stems back and forth. You know what I mean? And then everyone was like, all right, what are we going to do? And I went, we're going to make loads of music, innit? And it didn't work, did it? So this time, I'm planning on meeting someone on Monday. Who turned out to be a fan of the channel. He bumped into me. Turns out he'd had a cameo in the back of one. He'd walked past in one of the videos and he'd spotted himself. And so he's got a studio somewhere in London, and I and Lydia are going to go have a sort of chat with him, do a little bit of jamming, because my goal is I want it to... I need to be able to collaborate with a few people in person on top of the email side of things, because I feel like the problem is that we weren't coming to the email band with anything of substance. That was the key problem. We were coming with little tiny ideas. What I feel like we should be coming to the email band with is a full, exact tempo locked track, right? With some basic drums and some basic rhythm section that then other people can add to, or they can replace parts with better parts. Like, say we send something like a song to the email band, it's got MIDI drums on it, and a drummer puts some real drums on it, or MIDI keyboard goes to real piano, whatever, you know? And that's kind of the goal. So you have a core group of let's call them writers, and then more the recording side. And I feel like it doesn't necessarily just have to be that we're the only, writing group. This in real life thing that I'm doing with this guy, Luke and Lydia, the idea would be is that other people in the email band, if they want to start this themselves, they can, particularly if they're not interested in the fantasy world side of things, because I get, maybe not everyone's into that, right? But you would have different little modules, nodes of writing, let's call them writer groups, or just writers. You come up to the email band with something fairly concrete, tempo locked, as in we're not going to be going back and re-recording this from scratch. We can export this eventually as the final version, right? So it would be something like this. That wouldn't be good enough. What was that? That was so shite. Oh god. So I think I'm gonna ramble a little bit less, and I'm gonna do one of the main song that I'm working on at the moment, which is called The Pilgrimage. This pilgrimage, we're creating a band, an email band. We're creating an email band, Anya. It's going to be revolving around a fantasy world, and the email band can send stems back and forth to one another to slowly create the songs over time. And I'm just about to play one of the songs. It's called Pilgrimage. There, that way. If I move it like that, you should be able to see it. Because I realise you might want to actually see the fucking chords or whatever. There we go. As I make my way out the heavenly plane back down to earth, see your face in the endless ocean far west, and I know the way. Wherever you link and fade, why'd you disappear? Leave me here with my own hand. Oh, goddess, oh, goddess, oh, goddess, oh, goddess, don't leave me, don't leave me, don't leave me, don't leave me. Oh, goddess, oh, goddess, oh, goddess, oh, goddess, don't leave me, don't leave me, don't leave me, don't leave me. As I make my way on an heavenly way, I know my life. I know your ways, and I know the endlessness, and in a way, wherever you look and fade, why do you disappear? Leave me here to go, leave me here to go home. I'll never know. Oh, goddess, oh, goddess, oh, goddess, oh, goddess, don't leave me, don't leave me, don't leave me, don't leave me. Oh, goddess, oh, goddess, oh, goddess, oh, goddess, don't leave me, don't leave me, don't leave me, don't leave me. So that's kind of the idea. So that's a very basic demo of what I've got so far. As you can see, actually not as necessarily as you can see, I'm enjoying the prog sort of side of things. I've been listening to a lot of Dream Theater, more than usual actually, and Haken and Nick Drake and stuff like that. Thank you, PNW Sonny. But yeah, cheers actually, because The main issue with this song, the song structure isn't ready yet because it keeps getting longer. It's the story. All right, this is where I get into the story of what this song is actually about. And to actually tell you what the story of this song is, I think I need to explain a little bit about the world. So this world that's come about, right? So how do I show you the map? All right, fuck the map. Basically, imagine this: at the center of the world, I've got a prop. I can do props. At the center of the world is a candle, right? This candle is essentially the sun, right? It's about 300 kilometers tall. It sits in the middle of the world, and everything that's within this candle's glow is reality, right? So if the world is being, if anything is being affected by this candle's glow, that means it exists, okay? So what happens is what I've called him at the moment the hedonist creator, who essentially created himself for the purpose of pleasure. And the way that he created himself is, so there's the candle, which is basically just light and allowing things to exist. And then on the further outest most reaches of this world, in total darkness away from the candle, are the endless ocean forests, right? And these ocean forests, and these ocean forests, essentially, the water within them is able to be melded into whatever you want it to be, right? Kind of like it's essentially the tool that a god could use to create whatever they want to create. So, say if God, the Christian God, wanted to make Adam, right? He doesn't need to use dirt anymore. That's old hat. He's got an ocean forest now. He can just take a fucking 50 milliliters of that, just make a bloke, right? He doesn't need to take a rib anymore. He can just take another 50 milliliters, make a woman, right? That's how things sort of go here. So this hedonist creator, he makes himself so that he can have a nice time and have fun, but he's quite selfish at the same time. So he wants friends so that he can have friends, so that he has someone to talk to, so that he has people that, you know, will look up to him or be interested in what he has to say, etc., right? He creates these heavenly goddesses that are the most beautiful fucking goddesses that could ever exist, purely so that he can, you know, have sex with them and all that. So, and he's created this massive palace, all of this most beautiful, gorgeous fucking landscapes. He's created all the finest wines, the finest foods, you know, animals that are designed to be like consumed. Like, you know, the pigs are so fat that they fucking roll down hills at 100 miles an hour because they're the size of bowling ball boulders, like proper boulders, not bowling balls. You know, so this is the point: is that the god in this, we call him a god. He's basically a man. He's basically a man who has infinite power, but the problem is that the infinite power isn't exclusive to him. He's just the first person who's figured it out. So a lot of his friends, and particularly the goddesses, that he was, because the goddesses probably got a bad time of it. I mean, they weren't interested in having sex with him, so their whole purpose was basically being concubines. But they realized that they could quite easily overpower him using the ocean forests for their own creations in a much more pragmatic way. And so the goddesses then basically took over. They banished the hedonist creator and any of his disciples or loyalists to a place called Dwin, right at the top of the fucking world, right, in this big floating, essentially retirement home. And he says, and they say, don't come back, right? So from here on, the goddesses are controlling basically everything. They live in the heavenly plains that are just below Dwin, which we call Goldwyn, right? And that's pretty much at level with where the candle's flame is. So now the goddesses, there's two main factions of them. There's the humanists and there's the sexualists, right? This seems, if this is boring, I'm nearly finished, right? So there's the humanists and there's the sexualists, right? The humanists believe in using the ocean trees to create new people. The way that humans knocking about now, as of the present in this world, is you come to fruition as basically an adult, sexless, genderless, no genitalia or anything like that, right? You can't consummate, you can't procreate, nothing, right? You get transported over to wherever it is that you're meant to be knocking about, right? And then it's up to you to link with a goddess, right? And that basically means it's essentially the equivalent of marrying something, right? But here you're picking, like, it's like picking your football team, actually. That's a better way of saying it. Imagine if picking your football team was the basis for, replication amongst man, right? So you link with a goddess, right? That goddess takes all the humans that have decided to link with her, sits down, goes, okay, that one has a big head. Oh, that one's got small eyes. That one's really good at maths, etc., etc. And then they come up with a new template of a person, and that new template of a person is created in the ocean forest and then transported over. And that's how birth works. And that's the humanist system. And the sexualist system is essentially what you expect. It's the way we do it. You do that, right? And then, right? That's what the sexualists want. But the sexualists are not the dominating force. They are very much not necessarily a rebel group, but like, say with like the Shia and the Sunnis, right? I swear it's like the Shia are like fucking like 5% of all of them, right? That's kind of what this is. So the humanists all live in Goldwyn, and then the sexualists usually get banished from Goldwyn, and a lot of them end up living on the surface world, Valen, in a place called Nisipwin, right? And Nisipwin is kind of a weird place. It's kind of like an odd combination of the Vatican and Thailand, and it's an extremely like religious place, and it connects you with the heavens, and all extremely powerful people are knocking about there. It's also quite small, but it's also like Thailand in that not all goddesses are like full goddesses. There's some goddesses that are basically just the equivalent of humans but a little bit higher up, and we call those the Nern, right? I thought about calling them the Fae, but that started being I don't want all of the terms to just be rip-offs of other things. Like there's a race of demons as well that I need to rename to something else. And then I found out after I'd made my demons that my demons work exactly the same as the demons in Dark Souls, and that was a complete coincidence, even though Dark Souls was the thing that inspired me. Because basically in Dark Souls, the demons are essentially mutants that were forged by creators that didn't know what they were doing. And that's pretty much how it works in my world as well. Only in my one, the demons were a bit more like collectivized. Anyway, so the pilgrimage, after all of that explanation, right? The pilgrimage is about a person who's trying to connect with their goddess, but their goddess has abandoned them, right? And the reason that their goddess has abandoned them is because they have converted from a humanist to a sexualist. So they ended up being banished from Goldwyn during the course of the song to Nisipwin, and the human is now left pretty much unlinked, but they should be linked because they have a linked goddess. So what's going on, right? So now they're trying to find their goddess, right? So they do a pilgrimage all the way to Goldwyn, because in this world, like a bog standard human can get to heaven. It just takes a lot of effort, right? It's like get me going to Australia. Like I can't be asked, right? But I could do it if I wanted to, right? That's kind of what is happening here. He sails to. There's two main ways you can get to Goldwyn. There's Awelin, where you have to go up Dagger's Pill on the World Mountain, which is very, very fucking dangerous. Or the more direct way, which they might not let you in though, is through Nisipwin. Nisipwin's kind of two islands, one of which is a bit more friendly with Goldwyn, and the other one isn't. And the one that's friendly with Goldwyn has a big fucking tower that's like a super city, right? This is the thing. It's meant to be a fantasy world, but it's also almost got like these sort of steampunk-esque elements, sort of sci-fi-ness going on in there. For instance, there's economies and there's tourism. There's people live fairly normal lives. I've thought about what the daily life is kind of like. So getting back to the song, I haven't fully written this out yet. And I've got another idea for a song, which I'll mention afterwards, which will involve a bit more explaining. basically, I don't want this to be too literal. I don't want it to be like the pilgrimage is a story about a man called Neowyn who went to Goldwyn so that he could find his goddess, but the goddess had been banished from there because they became a sexualist. I don't want it to be like that. I want it to be little clues, the same way that in Dark Souls. This is why I keep bringing Dark Souls up, is because I love how you don't learn anything through just being told it or even being shown it. You've got to work it all out for yourself. And then that allows you to come up with these wrong interpretations. Like, I want people to have the wrong idea about what this world is like. And my dream is, like, years down the line, people arguing about what the fucking Nisipwin means, or what, what Goldwyn is, or where it is, or, who the hedonist creator was. I want people to disagree on these sort of things. And honestly, I somehow disagree with myself on certain stuff at the moment. I'm still trying to piece it all together, right? I love Dark Souls. I've been playing it today. Not today. I've been playing it recently. I've been playing Dark Souls 3. But where am I? I'm at the Boreal Valley. This said, all this talk about Dark Souls. It's not like I've played them again and again and again. I've played Dark Souls 1 and beaten it once, and I've given up on Dark Souls 3. Oh, so the other idea for a story is this one's about the bees. So there's an island called Tuk, which is full of giant sentient, not necessarily sentient, but they're bees, right? They're bees. It's an island full of bees that are all the size of Volvos, right? Exactly. Yeah, pretty much. It's not even necessarily that I want to know the definitive answer myself, but I want everything to be able to make sense, even if the ultimate sensible version isn't necessarily what my version is, right? Because I don't necessarily. I've talked about the death of the artist before. It's like, say, what your interpretation of the thing is, I think, is more important than the thing itself. Like, for instance, my interpretation of the Age of Dark in Dark Souls is that it is a complete eternal void with nothing in it, and reality only begins again once the Age of Fire starts, right? There's either a world where there's fire, or there is a world without fire, aka nothing. But I also know, through doing research and seeing other people's takes on it, that I'm not correct on that. And if I was to do more delving into it, I would find things that would put holes in my interpretation. And that's fine, right? Because I'm not super deep into Dark Souls, but other people are. The same way, other people might be really into this world, hopefully, and other people might not. That's kind of the idea. Hopefully, I've been really, in terms of getting this one done. I do actually want to really put I've bored every one of my friends to tears about this fucking world, right? And I feel no regret, right? Honestly, I send stuff to Lydia, right? I sent her about fucking 5 paragraphs, all just full dedicated to this world, right? And then I realized it all makes sense in my head, but it probably doesn't make sense to her. So I came up with the Lois. I realized what was happening. Don't you dare show me an advert.
This is pretty much how things have been going around here lately. Dad's trial starts tomorrow. We still have no idea where Reese is. And Mom kind of had a breakdown. It's okay. She's slowly working her way back.
I didn't hear it.
Helping her. Oh. This one's name is Sam Gundlebuffs. He grew up on a farm where he was friends with a turkey and a duck. He can't see very well, so he's always getting lost.
It'll be okay, Lois. We're gonna find Reese.
Look, he picks flowers. He's going to courting.
Yeah, so that's pretty much it. So yeah, so the bees story, right, is a quick. I'm not going to do it nearly as long because it's a little bit. This one's sort of more formulated but less. Anyway, the idea is the bees of Tuk, giant Volvo-sized bees. they work the same way you expect bees to work, but there's a few additions, right? So you got your queen that does the same thing as usual, right? In our world, making more bees. We've also got a king. We've also got princes and princesses, right? And the difference between what we call royal bees and worker bees / soldier bees / bog standard bees is royal bees have sentience, right? The other bees have no sentience, right? And bees work in a very binary sort of good-bad system, right? There is no in-between, there's no nuance or anything like that. They just... So, for instance, when the queen bee wants to stop being a queen bee and stop like reproducing because they're not getting very good at it anymore, they can give birth to a new queen bee who takes over. But now, then they don't have anything to do around the hive. So most other bees in most hives will just look at her and go, useless, not getting anything done, bad, kill, right? That's basically how they think, right? So the mother of basically all of these fucking bees gets sent away, has to go into exile on a long pilgrimage or just exile, whatever. Usually they go somewhere and they realize that the world is really, really extremely complicated and it freaks them out, and then they go back and they usually just die in isolation. They don't have a great time of it. But this one bee in particular, she leaves. She ends up getting into Goldwyn, which is the heavenly plane with all the goddesses, right? And they see this queen bee, right? And think, this is a golden opportunity here, because the bees, this is getting complicated, but the bees were created by the Acudians, right? The Acudians live basically on the southmost plane of the world, right? Imagine where Antarctica is. That's where they're knocking about. But they also live half on the surface world of Valen and half in the underworld of Pilven. But their whole thing is because they live in amongst all of the ocean trees, they're doing their own experiments with it, right? Of using these trees. For instance, they've created these trains, which are like these giant snakes that have like holes in them. So you just sit in this snake, the snake takes you where you need to go, and then the driver of the snake basically just sits in the snake's mouth in a chair that's been like in the snake's gums, right? There's a chair like lodged in there, and sits there, and he holds like a fishing rod sort of thing, and it's got like a lamb or a fucking goat on the end of it, right? And the snake chases the goat, and it means that you can travel like 300 kilometers from Vale and the surface world down to Pilven, the underworld, in like fucking 2 hours, right? That's what they do with the ocean trees. They make these basic mutant abominations. You know, like playing God? That is basically what they do. So they made the bees. That was one of their first escapades into creating with this. And the idea was that they were going to try and create some new way of making like wax for the world candle. Because obviously the world candle is a finite thing. If it burns all the way down, reality stops existing. People like reality. So, and this is like, in this world, this is like the oldest question of like, you know, is God real? It's like, can we make the world last longer? That's the equivalent. So the Acudians should have done that instead of fucking 50 billion on HS2. It's 100 billion now. It's 100 billion. Hello, Zoe Bodyguard 2033. So they tried to make the wax work by I don't know how to explain this to you, Zoe or Zoe Body. What we're talking about, you're just gonna have to get figure it out as we go along. So basically, the Acudians who live on the bottom of the world, they created the bees so that the bees could create the wax. Didn't work because the binary system of the bees meant that to them the Acudians were bad because they were basically slave owners. Slave owners bad. We don't like being in pain or being told what to do. Fuck off. So they left. Right? Yeah, it's a ridiculous amount of money, isn't it? Hi, Billy. Thank you very much. Cheers. It means a lot. It genuinely does. I never know how to say it in a way that seems genuine. I was on the bus with Lydia earlier. If she's in this chat, she'll be able to affirm that this did happen. But we were on the bus, and she was telling me about like these people that were getting married, and like we were like, oh, they're going to be getting married soon. It's like, oh, Graham and Natalie, right? And I was like, oh, good for them, right? And she turned to me like this. What? I went, good for them? She's like, no, you don't say stuff like that. What's going on? It's like, I was being sarcastic because in my head, I'm just sort of thinking, I don't know who these people are. I'm not bothered about them. And to be honest, it didn't sound like Graham and Natalie were getting married for the right reasons. So I'm not an earnest, well, I am an earnest person, but I'm not like an emotionally earnest person. You know, I'm not someone that can sort of go like, oh, come here, it's going to be okay. You know, I can give you all the philosophical and logistical sort of explorations into the human psyche. I can do that, right? If you're down for an existential chat, then come to me. But if you want genuine emotional support, it's like Sheldon. It's like there. It pretty much is. So why was I talking about this? I've completely forgotten. But the point of it generally. Oh yeah, it was the bees. Yeah, the bees. So the queen bee has gone to Goldwyn, right? And she's sitting up there at the top of the world, loving life, right? Because the goddesses are treating her like royalty, because she is royalty. I mean, she's a very important diplomat in this certain situation, and she's a diplomat that can be used against the Akudians. Obviously, Goldwyn and the Akudians don't get on. I say obviously because Goldwyn and the goddesses, particularly the humanists, they see themselves as like the divine. They're the only ones who should be messing with the fucking ocean trees. We're the only ones who should be creating stuff like that. Other people doing it is just causing a load of grief. This is the reason that we didn't give humans bollocks, right? It's an idea for a whole band, and if anything, it could even become a multimedia sort of project. Because at the moment, I'm writing kind of like, I don't know how, it's sort of like my own version of Silmarillion. It's kind of that sort of thing. So I've been writing. I found this long list of questions that in a world building subreddit, and at the moment I'm just going through and answering all the questions. And what I'm sort of ultimately hoping is that this world, it won't literally like just be me creating stuff within it anymore. It'll be like other people will be putting stuff in it, and then someone will sort of go like, yeah, that doesn't fit in the world, or that does fit in the world, you know, that kind of thing. See, I don't quite know what Christian Vander and Magma means. Magma, you might mean the band, because I'm seeing Zahul. This sounds more like proper theology. Oh, Zahul, that's I guess jazz music. I recognise that. Magma then must be the Canterbury fucking thing. Canterbury band. Oh, they're not a Canterbury band. They're a French band. I didn't realise that. Oh, I don't know why. I've always thought the Magma were in the Canterbury scene. Oh, well, you can kind of see why. There's certainly a bit of an overlap. Apparently, they also used to be called the Offering. Oh, well. So, yeah, basically, the goddesses of Goldwyn, they wanted to use this queen bee as a diplomat, and essentially now she's just getting taken all over the place, being, having to go up to meetings with fucking Akudians and going, yeah, I'm really annoyed that you people made me because I shouldn't exist, sort of thing. I'm an abomination of all of existence, and it's your fault that all of our species exist. And as she starts saying all this stuff more and more, she realizes that, because in her binary head, it's sort of like the goddesses have explained it to her, like bees equal bad, so they're bad. But as she goes on, she realizes that the bees are getting stuff done. The bees are decent, independent. They never do anyone any harm. They're not a hostile race in any way. They are, they won't harm you if you don't harm them, sort of people. They're just getting on with it. You know what I mean? So she breaks away from them and she flies back. I mean, a deadline probably, I don't know. I feel like a deadline, honestly, at the moment, I'm in pure sort of pre-production planning mode. And I think I need to go at my own pace for a little bit. But certainly soon, a deadline will be useful. My problem is I don't want to get too rushed into things because I've got to be honest. The reason I showed you that fucking clip of Lois having a mental breakdown, I wouldn't say I had a mental breakdown, but this year has not been very particularly kind to me. I've sort of not been having a great time of it. So now I'm sort of coming out of it and getting sort of back ingratiated with the world, you know. So once I'm not firing on all cylinders yet at all. Like I look at myself last year and I'm like, fucking hell, how did I do any of that? And once I can get back to that, and also once I get a few more like lines dotted and a few I's dotted or whatever, once I get a few more people involved in real life, because I can't do it as a solo operation anymore in terms of me in real life working with the email band. I can't even do it necessarily of collaborating with people online if it's just me. I need another person. You know what I mean? I need one other person, or preferably more than one person in real life that I can basically just badger about all of this sort of shit, and then they can badger me as well. You know, that's what Benja, one of my best mates, he's great for this because I haven't been talking to him about this sort of stuff particularly because we're more film and that. But like, we used to get so much shit done, right? Because we would sort of push each other, right? I feel like that's what I'm searching for that at the moment. I'm searching for I'm going to call my push partner, right? Just someone, or what's accountability partner? That's it, you know, someone like that. And I'm also just sort of, I also want to figure out the Johnny Mozza channel in general, like outside of this as well. Because, for instance, when this band does get started up, it's not going to get put on this channel. It's going to be on a different channel. This channel, I mean, I'll certainly advertise it. I'll certainly say go check out the band. But this channel won't be dedicated to that. So this channel needs to come out of its hibernation. And I've been thinking about what I could do different. I've got two ideas. First one is I tried doing longer videos. That didn't work. So I'm going to try doing shorts, right? I don't like YouTube shorts, but there's these ones that I saw that were, what is it? It's a guy who's really good at cooking, and he turns the cooking into allegories for various things to do with life. Like there's one where he's cooking a big meal for a girl, and the girl keeps saying, "Oh, I don't like mushrooms. Oh, I don't like paprika. Oh, I don't like cauliflower." And he's like, "Oh, okay, I'll take it out. No worries." And then he ends up serving it to her, and it's just like a bowl of pure fucking not necessarily nothingness, but just a boring, unseasoned, no flavor fucking food. And the message of it sort of is, if you give up the things that matter to you to appease other people, you eventually won't have anything left to yourself, right? That was kind of the idea. And I like that. I like the idea of making shorts in that sort of way, because look, I don't like the YouTube shorts, but or the TikToks or whatever, but you know what? They're not going away. I was hoping they'd be a fad, but I mean, what they've been about 10 years at this point. When did Vine start? Vine started in 2015? I mean, Vine the thing. Oh, 2012 it started, and then they turned it off in 2017. But yeah, I mean, I definitely do agree with the quantity versus quality thing, as you say, PNW, Sonny. And I'd like to get back into that. I think it just needed a little bit of a break, because I felt like if I kept going, I felt like I'd proven the point that quantity is a good alternative to quality, that it can be better than quality. But I needed to change things up a wee bit. I'll keep doing these as well because they're certainly easier. I think that'll probably be my main bulk thing, is continuing the normal style of videos, like the 10-minuters, and then maybe I'll do more like 4, 5, 6-minute ones. Maybe that would help them be a bit more concise. Get the ideas out there fast. People are busy. They've got shit to do. I've realized that the only videos of this sort of style that I watch are the shorter ones, are the ones that are 2 minutes long, 3 minutes long. So that's fine. Oh, yeah. I was just saying to someone earlier about that. It's weird that was the only negative thing that's ever happened to me while I was recording a video. I've had some sort of amusing things like the Iranian women, but nothing else, nothing like that. I remember at the time I was terrified because I can't remember who it was, if it was like the Daily Mail or the Daily Express or someone, but someone reached out to me for comment about the whole thing, and I didn't respond to it because I was speaking to Lydia about it. I was like, say if I went on to like GB News, right, but I planned all my talking points out in depth. I know how they're going to try and trap me and make me look like a div, so I work it out in advance of them, and break down right-wing ideology. I thought about doing that, but then it sort of became like, if even just going on it, I felt like that was capitulating to them. It's like, and then part of me was also thinking, do I want this? Is that the kind of lifestyle that I want? Like the thick of it. You know what I mean? Isn't TikTok basically the same as YouTube Shorts? I can't tell because I've never actually used TikTok, but I don't really know how it works. But from what I gather, it's the same thing. Like, it's got the little buttons on the side. It's got the same comment thing. It's got the same scrolling algorithm, but it's just different stuff. I remember watching, as my ex-wife got into TikTok. I accidentally got her into TikTok because I was trying to use it at the time, not to watch, but to like advertise, because I heard that it could be a good tool for that. So I was trying to do that, and she constantly said that, "Oh, can I use your phone to go on TikTok?" And I'm like, whatever. So, ooh, that's fucked. And this is another thing about TikTok, is I watched her go from, she got TikTok herself, and she would be showing me them, and I'm like, oh, actually, these are kind of interesting, And then it went from quite intelligent ones to dumber and dumber and dumber and dumber ones. And I watched her as well get stupider. And that's really scary, because then suddenly when I was like, it's never going to happen to me because I've seen it happen to someone else, so I'm aware. Then YouTube Shorts came about, right? What happens? I start watching YouTube Shorts. I start scrolling, right? It's so easy to get involved with the YouTube Shorts thing now. It's ridiculous. It's disgusting how they're doing that. I mean, this AI thing in general, they've probably harvested all of my videos, and eventually they'll, come out with some new fucking version of me that will say all the right talking points, for whatever it is they want. It's just terrifying, The idea that I could get a version of me that's not me, that's computer generated by some dickhead, right? Who, I don't know, say a Nazi or whatever wants to use me as like a mascot, right? So they get me coming out saying a load of Nazi shit, right? And then suddenly people don't know what's real, what's not. Am I trustworthy? Am I a Nazi? No one knows, right? And same with communists or people with a limp or fucking anything, right? They could make me say stuff that I wouldn't say, but they could make it sound like I was saying it. Like, it's my cadence, but it's fundamentally contradictory to what I believe about the world. And that fucking terrifies me. Which is kind of why I've been doing the fantasy thing, because, I mean, what am I going to do? Fucking defeat the trillionaire empires of Nvidia, TikTok, Google, Meta, whatever, No, it's not going to happen, right? So I'm kind of going the other way, just trying to isolate myself a little bit. Yeah, I don't know. the whole thing sort of freaks me out about AI in that way. Cabot Lane. Oh, you just reminded me. Didn't Jake Paul sell his likeness to Sora? Because I remember when Sora came out, Jake Paul got a massive resurgence of popularity because he was one of the only people you could actually use the thing for. People basically just used it to show him being like a little sort of camp queer sort of fella. And, you know, if you look at Jake Paul, you think that's kind of funny because he doesn't come off that sort of person. But, you know, then you could make it go further, you know, and get someone to say something that they don't actually mean. I mean, they've already used AI in political advertising. It was what was it? Who's the fella who runs Florida? I can't remember his name, but because he's really in bed with Trump, isn't he? I can't remember what his fucking name is. Something Tony or something. But the point is, the guy, the head of Florida, right, who's dead in with Trump. When Trump was doing the 2024 election, the head of Florida wasn't getting along with Trump at this point, right? So he made some political advert for his own election for governor or whatever it is, right? I need to look it up because I'm sick of being this uninformed. Governor of Florida. Ron DeSantis, that's what I'm talking about. So Ron DeSantis made his little political advertising thing that it was basically against Trump, saying, oh, Trump's a dickhead, he's lying, whatever, right? And there was one bit while it was like a bit of B-roll sort of thing of just Trump like walking towards an airplane, right? It wasn't real. It wasn't real. It was a fake bit, right? But it was sort of the voiceover is him like listing a load of shit that Trump's done that's bad, and they just showed one of them. They made it up, right? And like, look, I don't like Trump. You know, I'm not sitting here saying, oh, I'm so sorry for him, but that is pretty out. That's horrible, isn't it? You know what I mean? I mean, this technology will have been used, you know, all across the world at this point to make up all kinds of heinous shit about whoever it is you want. I mean, video evidence is becoming almost useless now, and by the end of the decade, it might well be fully obsolete, and that fucking terrifies me. But you know, I don't know. I don't know about that because I've gotten myself worked up about politics over the past few days because there's Henry Nowak thing. And I got myself really like down the rabbit hole about it, like reading all the fucking hearing documents and all that sort of stuff. I don't want to get into it because, you know, look, rest in peace, like Godspeed or whatever. How do I make that sound a lot more respectful than that? Because I genuinely did mean that. But point is, that's why I couldn't be a politician, by the way, because I'm just too flippant, aren't I? Like, you need to be sincere about things. If I did that, like, say if I was the head of America during George Floyd, and I was like, yeah, George, everyone would be like, he's so disrespectful, but like, I meant that. You know what I mean? Point is, I've been trying to sort of distance myself from politics and the world, like the real world. And this fantasy world has been a really good way of getting away from it. Right? It's been fantastic. And I highly, highly recommend to everyone that you do something like this. Shit, I just realized. Have I? Oh, no, sorry. Sorry, I thought the chat disappeared. Trump spending millions removing ocean monitoring systems because he believes climate change is fake is so 2026. Yeah, doesn't surprise me. In London, they're all banging on about how the weather, the temperature reporting station in Kew is too near an airport, so that means that climate change isn't real or some bullshit. It's like, yeah, one, it's not the only weather station in the world. Two, do you think they didn't account for this? You know, I don't know when the weather station was built, but say if it was built before the airport, they would have built another one somewhere. And if it was built after, they would have accounted for it, you know? Anyway, when I sort of got in, because I got myself way too into this Henry Nowak thing, I realized, like, I'm getting myself incensed and angry, and I hated it. And like, it's not a nice way of being, you know. You just go around and then you start looking at the world, and everything kind of goes along with your like preconceived expectations of everything that you've seen on the news, and then that makes you more like freaked out about the world, and it makes you isolate from the world around you, and you look at your fellow man, just go, that's a fucking alien in human skin. Not literally, of course, as a metaphor, but I just thought I don't want to be involved with that. So yeah, that's my rant about politics. I'm going to do a little bit on the electric, actually. I've plugged the electric in. Oh, actually, before I've also got a couple records. I've got some new records that I want to show you that I've acquired. Please be in right. A bit loud. Roll it down. Bring the gain down, the master down, and I want. No, not that one. I can't remember why I started playing this. Point generally was yeah, music's fun. It's a nice form of escapism. So yeah, I feel like I'm pretty much done here, but I'm gonna talk about one more thing. I've got some new records. I'm just gonna tell you about them, right? Because it's kind of fun. So first, one of my favorite albums of all time. It's a recent favorite album of all time. This Train of Thought by Dream Theater. Fucking brilliant, this. And what I found really interesting is when I played it on, I've got a quite a small, like, you know, it's not massive speakers out of these, but it's a bog standard little record player, right? One of these suitcase things. I thought this wouldn't be able to handle Dream Theater because I thought it's very loud, it's very metal, it's like a lot of like weird bits going on, but it's able to handle this absolutely brilliantly. But then I put on Minor Victories, which it's got a bit of a slow dive sort of sound. It could not handle it at all. So I got this in Copenhagen. And for some reason, this is the only place I've ever found it, is in Copenhagen. It was 305 Danish krone, which I don't think I got massively ripped off, but I think I probably paid more than I needed to. Then Catherine Wheel, Chrome. So I haven't actually listened to this in full yet. I've been waiting for like a time to get myself into it because like, this is quite a recent one. My mate Lee, he phoned me up and he was like, "Do you want a free trip to Birmingham?" And I was like, "Yeah." So we went to Birmingham and I found a record shop, and the guy in the record shop, he was very good salesman, and he told me that this band was a combination of Dream Theater and Slowdive, and I thought, I have to listen to that. I have to get it. And I've been saving it for some kind of special occasion. I'm not sure what that is yet, but I feel like having that vision of what it sounds like in my head means a lot to me. And when it stops meaning anything to me, that's when I'll start listening to it. But as a result, maybe it means I'm going to get really high expectations of this and be disappointed. But I like having the expectations is fun, you know? And you know what? If Chrome by Catherine Wheel doesn't turn out to be as good as I thought it was, who fucking cares? I've got 2 more records, and these ones I acquired free of charge. The first one is a Genesis Owusu Struggler. So I was walking down the road, and I found this just outside someone's house on the side of the road, right? Just on their fence, and there was a load of other shit next to it, like some random DVDs and stuff. That So I thought, this is sealed. Genesis Owusu. I've heard that name somewhere. He's a jazz rap something, right? I get the sense he's sort of like a Kendrick Lamar ripoff, right? But point is, I thought, it's not the sort of thing you normally find on the side of the road. I'll have that. I went past that house a few days later. Police were raiding it, so don't know what's going on there. And then the Interstellar soundtrack, which me and my mate David, one of my closest friends, when he turned 18, I bought him Atom Heart Mother on LP from HMV, and he must have been appreciative of that, because when it came around for my birthday, he apparently gave me this in 2018, and I just never took it home, and I must have forgotten about it. So a couple of months ago, I was over at his house, and I was just sort of having a look through his record collection, just because I've been getting into records lately. I was like, "Can I have a look at your record collection? I know you've got some interesting stuff," because he's into his dreamy sort of sound. I would say, I don't want to speak for him, but like everything that he's shown me has a bit of an ethereal quality to it. He's got that and sort of soft indie. Like he's got a wide taste, but that kind of thing makes sense, right? For instance, I have a feeling he might quite like this. Point is, he bought me Interstellar, the soundtrack, apparently, and I said, "No, I didn't know you like the Interstellar soundtrack." And he's like, "No, that's yours." I was like, "What?" So, yeah, this is your birthday present. And I was like, I don't know, because I haven't actually given him a birthday present since, because I can't be asked. I learned from this experience not to bother getting anyone birthday presents, because it's just another thing, isn't it? You got to do. I can't be asked. Sick of it. I had an idea about birthdays, actually, which is, instead of us having a birthday every year when we're born, say you do something good for the world, say you donate money to the homeless or whatever, right? And someone recognizes that and goes, "Hey, you've done a good thing there. We're going to throw you a birthday," right? That way, think about it, right? Not only is the birthday justified because they've done something good, it encourages people to do good things, and also it means that we're not getting a birthday just for the fucking achievement of existing, right? It gets on my nerves. It's like, whenever my birthday comes around, it's like everyone starts paying attention to me, giving me shit and like presents and stuff, and going, "Oh, happy birthday." Sing you the bloody song, you end up getting a cake and you have to eat it and fucking sit there and be like, "Oh, this is fun." And it's like, yeah, I'm sure it is, like it's meant to be, and I'm saying thanks because I'm appreciative, but yeah, social credit birthday essentially. And the higher your age would be, so someone who's like 100 years old but they look my age, right? People would be like, "Wow, that is a really, really noble, well-to-do person," right? But then, say you found a 27-year-old elderly man, you'd be like, "Yeah, best steer clear of him," right? I'm not necessarily steer clear of him, but just be like, he's not an exemplar of fucking human society. That's my idea. And I think with that, I'd appreciate a birthday more then, because someone has pointed at something that I've done and gone, that's good. Here's a little reward. Here's Interstellar, the soundtrack on vinyl. Here's a little bit of carrot cake. I'll take you out for a coffee or whatever. Right? That's because I don't like birthdays. I can't be asked, and I don't like buying stuff for other people's birthdays. I don't remember when their birthdays are or any of that shit. It's like I'm lucky because most of my family have birthdays within the same sort of month range, right? I've got quite a small family, but then I nearly had an incident the other day where I ended up having to get more people birthday presents, and I thought, I'm not getting them anything. I'm going to do the awkwardness for 1 year, right, where they bought me something, and I'm not going to get them anything, right? That way, because otherwise it's just going to go on and on until we're both fucking dead, isn't it? There's no point, right? There is no point. So the way I see it is, I'm just going to look. Well, are you going to give me anything for my birthday? No. I'm not going to get you anything next year. So okay. It's like, yeah, I appreciated the present. It was a nice present, you know. Got me some chocolates. That's nice, right? I'm appreciative of it, but I don't want to be getting involved with this, right? This whole shebackle, right? It's not my circus, not my monkeys. Is that the saying? Point is, I don't want to have to sit around thinking, oh, it's the 13th of July. I better get some fucking expensive chocolates for someone and write a card and say some shit I don't care about. I know it sounds harsh, right? But the people that I do get presents for, right? I'm not interested in the present. The buying presents thing, it's stressful. It annoys me. Christmas annoys me because it's like, it's like all the birthdays at the same time. It's like I'm sitting there going like, right, Lydia's done. Mum, need to get her a present. Dad, need to get him something. Nan, yep. Granddad, yep. All right. You get my point. It's like it's all at the same time. But yeah, sure, I get stuff in return. That's nice. But I'd rather not have any of it. You know what I mean? But then it seems harsh saying this because I feel like if someone was watching this and was like, right, we'll stop bothering to get you anything, that wouldn't make me any happier either. You know what I mean? It's like I think I like being annoyed at things, but I don't want to solve the issue. Right? If I solve the issue, then I've got nothing to moan about, and I like the moaning process. I mean, I've got friends, and I've had friends try and buy me presents, and I've said to them, "Don't do that. I'm not buying you anything." And it's like you just got to shut it down right there, right? Just shut it down as fast as you can, because I was tempted to get because I saw something in a shop, and I was like, "That would be perfect for my mate Johnny Crab, right? That's gonna be perfect for him, right?" I can't remember what it was, but it would have been perfect, right? And I thought I'm going to get that for him. But then Lydia sort of said, you know, if you get that, he's going to be buying you presents for the rest of your life. And I was like, oh, yeah. Okay, I won't get it. Do you see the problem? Johnny Crab could have had a nice little gift out of me there, but he doesn't get one because of this whole social contract of birthdays, right? Why not just, I want to give you something like, if I see, because Lydia likes Diet Coke, right? She likes Diet Coke. So whenever I go into Morrison's, sometimes I see a deal on Diet Coke. Recently, I saw get 24 cans of Diet Coke for £7. I thought that's a good deal. So I texted Lydia and I said, do you want 24 cans of Diet Coke? She went, no. I don't want 24 cans of Diet Coke. One, I prefer it out of the bottle. And two, I know the struggle that you went through trying to get it home the first time. But to me, that struggle is part of the gift. The fact that I went through a load of grief is part of the present, right? I feel like, say if all my family were so rich that they got me presents via like their servant and the servant did all the work, right? It would mean less, right? To get my thinking. So part of the present there was that I've shown that I am willing to carry a big box of fucking Diet Coke 2 miles up the road, right, in the pouring rain for you, right, because I love you. That was my logic there. That's, to me, means a lot more than getting someone a fucking card from W.H. Smith that says, to Josh, love from whoever, right? Because it doesn't matter, right? I get people something when, like, oh, here's a good example. When I was in Birmingham, I found a you could get 2 books, but you could get buy 2 books, get 1 free from a charity shop, right? I saw 2 books that Lydia would like. What was it? It was a book on dogs, and it was a book that was to do with a film that it was like an adaptation. It was like a book version of a film that she likes. So I got those, and I thought I need the 3rd thing now. So I thought, right, flicking through. I'm like, there's nothing I want here. So I'm thinking, right, what else? Maybe something else Lydia might want. And there's nothing else she'd be interested in. So I thought, right, okay. And then I saw Taylor Swift, the autobiography, and I thought, hang on. David's girlfriend, who I've never met, the only thing I know about her is she likes Taylor Swift. So I called David up, and I only realised this after the fact, but we don't call each other very often. We're texters. So this might have been the first time I called him in like a year. So he must have thought it was quite serious. But he answers it, and I'm like, he's like, hello? And I'm like, yeah, it's your girlfriend, she likes Taylor Swift, doesn't she? And he's like, yeah. I was like, all right, perfect. Well, I'm going to get a book from a charity shop. It works out, I get it for free, and I'm going to give that to you, and then you give that to your girlfriend, right? You don't have to say it's from me. I don't care, right? You can make it out as if you got it out your kindness of your own heart, or you can tell her the whole thing. Do whatever you want to do with it. But point is, I'm giving you this book to give to her. She might get something out of it, right? And then afterwards, I thought, hang on, is this a little bit weird? But then I thought, no, this is my version of kindness. This is my gift giving, right? It's not about me going out seeking stuff. It's about if I find something, I thought of them, right? But then I don't, outside of I hope that my mate and his girlfriend are happy together and all that, and like I hope she's happy in general, right? I don't know her. So I don't actually, like, on a fundamental, like, root sense of my brain, necessarily care whether she likes the book or doesn't like the book or whatever, right? She could have thrown it away by now. I don't care. But the point is that I thought about someone and got them something, right? And that's what I think it should be for everyone, right? That's my logic. And I've asked a few people this, and they've all sort of said it's decent logic. But it's like my mum and my dad. My mum once got my dad a library book for Christmas, right? It was a book on serial killers. He was into the serial killer in particular, so she got him a library book. And then she said, and they took it back to the library, and she said, I will buy you the actual book. And he was like, no need, I've read it now. So there was that. And then what else? Yeah, that's pretty much it. When I first got with Lydia, she said that she really wanted to read the L. Ron Hubbard fucking Mission Earth thing, right? Because she's into that sort of like sci-fi sort of stuff. So I told my mum that, and my mum was in a charity shop, and she found all 12 volumes of Mission Earth for £2. And so she bought them all, and she gave them to Lydia, and she was like, don't worry, this only costs £2. I don't put a load out here. Don't expect this next year, right? It's just an accident, right? And I sort of said to her, why don't you just like siphon them off, like one year, one the next, that sort of thing. Like when I was with my ex-wife, she wanted to read the Bloodlines of the Illuminati, right? It's a trilogy of books, right? So what I did is birthday, got volume 1, Christmas, volume 2, next birthday, volume 3. I've covered nearly 2 years there with one gift. It's brilliant, because it's not like it matters, because by the time it gets to her birthday around, she'll have read the next one. If I give her 3 books all at once, she's not going to read them all. But if I give them one at a time, then she'll read it all. That's my logic. So I hope that sort of makes sense. I don't know how that would play in America. I'd be really curious to know how that would go down in America, if that's like a sensible, like if that would be seen as like selfish or whatever. But that's just my thing with gifts. I don't. Yeah, I like to do that as well, seeing, and I like to do that. But like I sort of say, like, do you want the advice, or do you want just sort of like, it's shite this? What is it? Do you want advice or do you want empathy? That's it. That's what I usually say. Because it's like, yeah, sometimes I don't like, say if I go up to someone, I'm like, oh, I'm really depressed. And they go, have you tried X, Y, Z? I'm like, fuck off. It's not the point. I can't be asked reading that. But that's kind of the idea, is that, I mean, if I could, I would rent myself out as a therapist as a present. So, I give everyone a token, right? It's like you get a 1 hour session, right? And I'll therapize you, right? I'm not a licensed therapist, but tell you what, I'm a lot cheaper than a licensed therapist. So, you're getting it for free, I'm putting effort in, so it still works as a present. That's what I'd love to do, but yeah, we can't do it, unfortunately. Actually, to be honest, I don't want it. I don't want that anyway, because then everyone will be coming up to me, sort of going, can I book a session because my present, I got my token. It's like, no, I'm busy. See, I don't want that either. So I'm swallowing a lot because my throat feels really dry. I don't know why. I'm drinking water. That was my own fault, that. Oh, Christ. Yeah. Oh. Ow. When you cough so hard, it makes you cry slightly. Oh, it's annoying, that. I've been getting the hay fever. It's been hay fever season, so yeah. Great, now it's all flared up. Now I look like I've been like crying all the time. This is what this is what happens all the time. So yeah. I don't really have anything else to add, to be honest. So if anyone wants to ask anything or say anything or anything like that, now's your chance, because I'm pretty much going to wrap it up. I'm just going to sort of oh, okay. So I've been trying to work out the drum pattern because the time signatures on this. Length for the album, I don't know. Well, The Pilgrimage, this song I've been doing, I've been very inspired by, particularly In the Presence of Enemies Part 2 by Dream Theater, and what else? Shine On You Crazy Diamond. So I think that should give you an idea for that song. It's quite long. I love the idea of this whole band resembling the early Flower Kings. I love the Flower. I say I love the Flower Kings. They kind of get on my nerves sometimes, but I also love them. Like, for instance, that is an AI cover, right? This album came out in 8th of September 2023. So that's AI, right? Am I going mad? That has got to be AI. So yeah, but that's not what I'm referencing. I'm actually referencing early Flower Kings, when they would make stuff like Retropolis or not Stardust We Are necessarily. Yeah, Back in the World of Adventures, that's a good one. Yeah, we're looking at sort of like, sort of double vinyl, 70, 80, 90-ish minutes with like a 20-minute, some sort of 7-8 minuters, some 5-minuters, some 3-minuters, that kind of thing. Just with this kind of, not necessarily this particular art style, but one that's a little bit consistent, and two, that has this sort of, I don't know, a mystical sort of, but also quite comforting sort of quality to it. That's kind of my idea. And also not every song is going to be all like that one there is mixed meter of 1 bar of 9/8, 1 bar of 11/8, and then 2 bars of 9/8, then going into 3/4 for the chorus. It's not like that. right? For every song, I want plenty of songs to be at various, levels of music. Because I'm not actually that good at music theory. I just like pissing about with my time signatures and weird stuff like that, getting in over my head. I like that. And what I want to do is just expand out the world through the music. And the more that I create the music and we create the music, the more I can sort of start figuring things out about the world. And also, people are interested in the world, then I can sort of figure out maybe a way that we can do some way of building it as a team in some way. I've still got a few things I need to sort out first to get completely rooted down, so that the original email band, so we don't make that mistake again of going in guns a blazing but with no ammo. This time I'm making sure we're stocked up: grenades, flashbangs, tactical ammunition, whatever that is, Kevlar, all that, right? We're going in properly prepared this time, but that might mean that it takes a while. Like, for instance, the original Johnny Mozza channel, I never prepared anything for it, pretty much. And this time, I'd like to, because I did the quantity over quality thing. This time, I'd almost like to try the opposite, a little bit closer to quality over quantity. Not fully, not like completely. Like, this channel itself will still be a bastion for quantity over quality, but I think I'd like to, really hone things in is the idea. So yeah, I'll try and do I'll try and do more live streams more often. Maybe like short ones. I'll do like maybe half hour every like few days or something like that. And at some point I'll also do a video talking about this world once I figure out how I'm going to structure that, and also how to market it, because tall, long-haired dickhead in the woods rambling about a fantasy world that no one's ever heard of isn't exactly going to be great for the SEO, is it? I mean, what am I going to put tags? Goldwyn, Nisip win. It doesn't mean anything, Oolah. I just made these words up. You can make any old shit up. If you can make an alphabet you can make a language out of anything. It's brilliant. I made a semi-conlang for this world. And all I did, let me find it. It's really basic. It's not like in-depth at all, this. But all I did is I just looked at the Latin alphabet and I thought, I get 10 consonants and I get 4 vowels, right? Okay, I don't have it available, but basically I picked A, E, U, and Y. And then sometimes I, as in like, say if we're getting too many Y's being used, then we can use an I, almost like the equivalent of a double I. You know what I mean? And then 10 consonants. I picked my consonants out. And I tried to pick ones that like G's and L's and P's and stuff like that. And that kind of helped me to come up with terms like gold, right? I think AI is banned if someone tries to put the multi-tracks into Suno. Well, I tell you what, I did actually. I'm fundamentally against Suno, but I did have an idea, because I was struggling with the time signatures with this song. I thought, if I just play like a full version, could it make me a drum track, and then I could use that drum track and edit it down to what I want? But I looked it up, and apparently it can't. It can barely even do that with 4/4, let alone with mixed meter fucking polyrhythmic bullshit. So actually, there's no polyrhythms in this. I don't know why I said polyrhythm. I meant mixed meter. But yeah, I considered it, and I thought, I don't even want to do this, because look, I've already opened myself up to like ChatGPT. It's fucking shite, and I do think that ChatGPT and these sort of AI text chatbots are addictive, right? Because I was thinking about addiction the other day. I was thinking, I know a lot of addicts, but I don't know a lot of drug addicts. As in, I know a lot of people who are addicted to gambling. I know a lot of people who are addicted to shopping. I know a lot of people who are addicted to working out. I know, like, to a fault. I mean, I know people who are. I'm trying to think of a good. There's another good one. Can't remember what it is. But the point is that I know people that are addicted to that stuff. But obviously, there are people that are addicted to drugs. But my point overall is that I think this is a form of addiction. This ChatGPT stuff. But yeah, I am planning on doing tempo maps. Leo was telling me about those and how they're dead useful. He knows stuff that I can never figure out because he's sort of like he's tech. I don't understand that, but it is kind of interesting, like seeing. And once I figure out the tempo maps, I think I'm going to be solid gold. I'm trying to quit AI, and I have to admit, I will confess, I've found that Gemini in particular has been really useful in terms of building this world. Like, not literally, it hasn't actually done anything for me. I haven't actually got, like, nothing that it's come up with I have used. No names, no anything like that. I refuse to do anything like that. But it's almost like I just talk to it because I've got no one else to talk to this world about, right? So I just type at it, and then it gives back stuff. And I know it doesn't understand, but it allows me to feel like I'm talking to a thing, right? Like, even if I'm just talking to a brick wall, if it's a one-sided conversation, at least the conversation's happening. And then I can ask it, so what is Nisipwin going on? And then it will pull up like what I said earlier. And that was it's quite useful for that. But that said, I still want to get away from it because with how anti-AI I am, I think it's extremely hypocritical that I am using AI. Right? I think it's extremely hypocritical, right? And I recognize that, and I want to figure out how to stop that. Because I have just stopped before, and then you always go back. And I'm thinking that with quitting drinking, as he was saying way earlier, someone asked me earlier about quitting drinking. I don't know what I did there. See, I mean, I even feel bad for doing this. That's why I'm confessing it, right? Like, I wrote a little document, and there's even a big bit. There's a whole section where I basically just admit, like, I have used AI not to make anything regarding the world, not to generate anything like that. No final product has been touched by AI, but it's kind of fun as part of the process. You know what I mean? But yeah, I'd agree. I feel like you kind of get what I mean, Scene and Kari. Like, it's sort of a, I don't know. You ask it a lot of stuff, and sometimes it gives you better answers than Google does. Like, say if I've got a tech issue, it's good for that. I find little things like that. But at the same time, I'm also against the idea of it. But then thinking about it, would I have been against Google when that came out? I mean, I was too young to remember it when it came out. I'd been like, no, I wouldn't have been born yet. I think it came out in 97. I was born in 99. Yeah. But I probably would have been the same. I mean, I'm definitely a Luddite. I don't like TikTok. I don't really like YouTube. I don't like the internet. I don't like Facebook, all these infinite scrolling algorithms, you know. And I don't like AI either. But the last tool that I found really useful is like Google Drive. That is brilliant. And even that's like 10, 15 years old now. So, yeah. What if AI is like these specific, very niche use cases are kind of okay, but then the grander topic of AI, what if it becomes a politicized thing? I mean, it will, won't it? It probably, if it hasn't already. I don't know. I didn't actually formulate any opinions about. I didn't formulate my ideas on AI prior to coming on here, so they sound a little bit all over the place. Because I'm just trying to pick from like when I've thought about. Because I haven't thought about it for a wee while, so I'm trying to. Like yesterday, I went to an open mic and I tried to play a song that I wrote like 8 years ago. But literally, I started playing it. I realized, shit, I don't actually know the lyrics. I agree. I hate. I don't feel like what I'm doing with the AI is necessarily creating. Like I don't allow it any creative freedom in any capacity, and I've usually it just sort of it helps me sort of tie things together, sort of making a bit of a map, like a dictionary of different things. And then I can ask it questions and it pulls things up from before in a very informal sort of way. But even then, I don't even like doing that. I'm trying to think of other times of the only other time I ever used AI for something was on the song. So I guess this is it. This is like very at the start of AI because I wrote that song in like I don't know something in 2023, and I originally used AI for the lyrics, but because I came up with my own sort of draft of the lyrics and I thought they were shite, so I gave them to ChatGPT and I tweaked them further from that, and then the AI thing kind of came around and like the controversies. So basically, I just went through every line and just changed them all. But it was all kind of based on this original generation, but I just sort of Frankensteined everything that was AI out of it and replaced it with my own thing, which probably wasn't much better than just using AI to begin with. But yeah, that kind of taught me like I don't ever want to use it in the creative side of things because like Connie Lynn had happened already at this point. That's like one of the first films that used AI as a writing tool, and that seemed like a cooler idea in 2021 than it did in 2025. But yeah, so yeah, I don't like AI is the point of this, and I just find it a bit despicable, really, and I sort of hate myself for even using it at the capacity that I do use it. So I've been trying to get off it. I got this app on my phone now. Hang on, I'll get it up for you. See if you can get some useful out of it. So there we go. Let's see. So what it does, what it should do, is right. I'm going to tap the Chrome button. There's a Chrome button there. No, that's messages. Here we go. Do you see that? Oh, that's like a weird little sort of effect. Do you see that there? Say on the screen. So yeah, but it gives me a little sort of thing, like a little counter. See the counter? So I can't do anything with this phone for 10 seconds. So whenever I go on Chrome, because I use Chrome to go on Reddit, and then I use Reddit to doom scroll, right? So that helps me to sort of lock myself out of it. You know what I mean? And then I've also set up other specific ones, like there's a geo one, which means that late at night, I can use, like, there's two versions of it that I made for myself. There's one which allows me to use YouTube at home, because when I go to sleep, I like to listen to podcasts and stuff on YouTube. So that's all right. But my problem at night is going on Chrome and then going on Reddit and doom scrolling. So what I did is I made it so that if I'm away from the house, it can then I can use like Chrome and all this sort of stuff because I might need to, or I might just want to because I'm bored, I'm on a train. But if I'm at home, then I can't use it. It's called it's just called App Block. I'm not gonna sponsor them or anything. It's not an advert thing. It's just the first one that popped up. Get whatever fucking one it is. Like they all do the same thing. Right. I just found it quite useful as all because I realized I was getting too into just going on Reddit and just doom scrolling, which you don't want to be doing. So yeah. But the problem is now I doom scroll on this thing instead. You know how there's this and then there's this here. So now I just doom scroll on this. But at least this is a bit more interesting. Like I do find it gives me conspiracy bullshit sometimes, but Milankovitch cycles. The Milankovitch orbital cycles are the primary force guiding the Earth's ice age climate patterns. Orbital mechanics have long dominated climate dynamics, eclipsing the CO2 narrative. The shifts from glacial to warm. Oh, this sounds. Wait, what? I hope this is. Okay. Problem is, I can't. It also won't let me Google stuff either. So it does all sorts of things. Yeah, I found it useful. Right, I just found it a useful tool. So yeah, I'm gonna sort of play us out with a little bit. As I'm walking around, all the cold when I know that light. So yes. Definitely like AI exclusion zone. Yeah, it will be an AI exclusion zone. I mean, I'm not gonna like heavily super police it or anything like that. You know what I mean? Like, if it, just don't tell me that you're using AI, and if I don't find out, then there's not really a problem, is there? Actually, the main problem there would be that the fact that I think that something that's AI is actually real. That's terrifying, isn't it? Let's see you back on YouTube streaming. Yeah, sorry for disappearing in general. Yeah, sorry for disappearing. Mainly entirely my fault. I basically just fully burnt myself out. But also I just stopped, and if I shouldn't have stopped really, because I think when you stop, that's when problems begin. So yeah, daily routines are always generally quite good, and obviously we all come to pitfalls here and there, but it's about just trying to get up as smooth as possible. I'm not going to do anything like that. I can't be asked. I'm not like the AI police or anything like that, but I don't know, maybe maybe we'll have a vote on it. Actually, I'm sort of torn on the idea, because some people might like that. I get the sense that some people would sort of see that and be like, this email band is like a genuine, like reputable thing that's trustworthy and respectable. That seems all right. All right, yeah. Okay, we can do that. I so and so will not use AI in this project. I think we can like sort of say like, I don't mind if they talk to ChatGPT, like asking it like, I'm trying to figure out this song. Can I send it to you? What sort of thing is it? You know what I mean? Yeah, I suppose. I don't know. I feel like with the shadow elements, it's hard to police them. You know what I mean? Like it's easy enough to sort of say we're not having any AI generated music or anything like that, but like how do you figure out if someone's AI generated a lyric? You know, I mean, in 2 years, no one has guessed that I had AI as part of the process in that song, so I guess this is it. In fact, lots of people think it's one of the best songs, but technically, none of the words in it are AI. They're just replacements of words that were artificially generated that were then, even then, interpretations of my original text. So, how? I mean, I don't think that's good, but that exactly is sort of how do we figure out what's going on? Maybe we could have this. Maybe like I was going to say have a checkbox. I'm like, how do you use AI? Do you like you can do this? Like maybe use a bit of ChatGPT to fucking I don't know review your lyrics or something like that and go, yeah, these are a bit old hat or whatever. Because that can be quite useful. But then it does just sort of glaze you over every time. But people will do that. I don't necessarily know if I have a problem with that. What else? I think just a blanket thing, and then the shadow elements will be there because we can't get rid of them, unless like to police it, we would have to do something that would probably even be quite invasive, and I don't have the resources for that. I don't know. 0% AI used label would be a selling fact. You are actually correct on that. I'm gonna see if there's a is there anything like that? 0 AI used badge or certificate or something. Okay, I found one. I'll send it over to this group chat thing. Apparently, this is a gaming thing, but we could apply it to music. So if you click on that, it should say it should take you there to it. To get my point, right? So yeah, they came up with a little badge, and I figure we could put it on the corner on a little sticker or something like that, or in the description, So yeah, I do agree that AI, like for instance, Dream Theater really like annoy me at the moment because they're working with Hugh Syme, who is actively using AI in his art, and his art is artificially fucking generated. It's not true. And then Jordan Rudess, the keyboardist, is constantly messing around with like AI influenced music and like all this sort of stuff. And it's sort of like, how can I trust that the next Dream Theater album won't have any AI music in there, right? Because like on one perspective, I can kind of see Jordan Rudess's perspective because he's in his late 60s. He's always been interested in tech anyway, right? But at the same time, he's not just like a kooky old uncle. He is the head of a tech company. I can't remember what the name of the company is, but it's a software company that creates music software, like that fucking iPad thing that he has when he's on stage. That was all developed by the company that he founded. So he's not a pure innocent figure. I actually don't like Jordan Rudess very much, and yeah, he gets on my nerves. It's a shame because he's a fantastic fucking pianist, and whenever I see him like on interviews and stuff, he seems like a nice guy. It just seems like he's doing like something wrong there. But the point is, yeah, I get it. Like, how do we prove that this music is real, right? I mean, say, oh, maybe, no, that's not going to work. I was going to say, what about an expectation is everyone has to record themselves playing it? Fuck that. I'm not doing that. Too much effort. Maybe like way down the line when the things are done, like just do tell everyone, just record yourself playing over it and we'll make a little music video out of it or something like that. That's fine. But I'm trying to think of how else we could prove that our work is real. Like, how can I prove that Johnny Mozzo, the channel, is real and not AI, other than the fact that that technology hasn't gotten that good yet, right? Because eventually it will get good enough that it can easily replicate me doing what I do, right? And it won't look uncanny in the slightest. So how do we account for that? I don't have a clue. But we'll have to figure something out. Let me think. It's hard because my throat's so dry. It's like I drink water and the water doesn't do anything. Do you know what the annoying thing is? Just had a load of yogurt. Bought some 10% fat yogurt. Actually, I regret buying it. It was posh yogurt. I regret buying that. But I've got about 2/3 of it left to go. So I'm stuck with that for the rest of the week. But on the plus side, I got some sausages. So Works out. See, an AI wouldn't ramble off like that, would it? So how can we come up with something for? I don't know, because I mean, when AI first started, I expected AI generated music to be like techno and EDM and stuff like that. I didn't expect the Velvet Sundown to be the fucking forerunners of AI music with their like folk psychedelic fucking sound. Which, if the Velvet Sundown weren't AI, I would like them. Yeah, I suppose that's probably the best way. And then if something turns out that someone was using AI, then it's a bit of a scandal. And if anything, that's more fucking attention on the band, isn't it? Because part of the whole idea of this fantasy world is it's almost like a viral marketing strategy. Because look at all the indie bands that are out there on it that have Instagram accounts and Facebook accounts that are constantly posting little snippets of their fucking songs with nice little visuals going, oh, it's out on Tuesday. It's like, no one fucking cares that your stupid song's out on Tuesday, right? No one cares, okay? Because you're not a popular band. You don't have a subreddit or a forum or Swifties sitting there going mental waiting for it, right? Coming up with their own theories about it. Because you haven't given them anything to latch onto other than, we're an indie band that are based in East London and we started in 2024 and we're really passionate about music and we like to make music in the style of Def Leppard. So no, what has a fan base got to attach themselves to with that? So I'm thinking, give them something to attach themselves to. Don't go out there and make the email band fucking YouTube page and Facebook, etc., etc. Instead, what we do is we create the music, and we slowly put out little tiny details, right? Vague, not on an official account of any capacity. We don't have any official like accounts yet, right? I'm thinking, old music stuff on YouTube where it'd be like Comfortably Numb uploaded to YouTube like 18 years ago by some twat, and it's got the Dark Side of the Moon album cover, right? Like that. I feel like we should upload our music as if it's that and give people this idea of like, when was this made? Like, I don't want people to think that the email, like our music came out in 2026. I like the idea that people think that our music came out in like 2005, something like that. You know what I mean? Like, we're not going to overtly say it's 2005, but we just kind of go, it's got that sort of thing to it. Everything sort of leads you as if it's not recent, it's sort of a bit older, which kind of gives it this sort of air of a little bit. That's my logic. John makes beats, uploads his beat making process, and even shows, is he the guy, hang on, what's his name? John, yeah, is he the guy that he makes the hip hop things, but he'll make them at like 300 BPM as fast as possible, and then he'll turn it down to like 120 BPM, and then it turns into like a proper trap beat. And then the comments will be full of people going, it sounded fucking banging at 300 BPM as well. And to be fair, it did. But is it kind of like that? I hope so. And I sort of hope that my own uses of AI, like, because I don't like them. I feel like I use too much. And I haven't even used it for like fucking 5 days at this point. I've never used it to generate anything. I've never, in that kind of capacity, or anything that's actually made it to the final version in any way. And even then, I still want to wean off what I'm doing at the moment. So, yeah, I think we've got a good system there. Let's just, as Seaman said, just get everyone to say like, oh, yep, I agree not to use AI. And if it turns out they used AI, then it's a bit of a scandal. Works out. Yeah, I like that. Yeah. And yeah, I'm sure if people want to like, film themselves making the beats and stuff like that and make their own like content out of it, they're more than welcome to do that, right? It's almost open source in that way. Because again, this is like with the money thing, the original point of the email band was if it made any money, we would donate it to charities that were small enough that they would make a difference. Like 50 quid would make a difference, right? Like, we're not going to be donating to, I don't know, UNICEF. We're going to be donating to, I don't know, build a birdhouse in Baghdad or something. You know what I mean? like really, really tiny things that help people out along the way. You know, that's the idea. And again, with that's why I don't want this band to be like a money-making thing. I want it to be almost like an open source thing. I want it to be a collectivized thing. And the only reason I realized it failed the first time is that it didn't have anything to collectivize around. So at the moment, I'm trying to work on that pillar or that candle that can be. I'm not going to drop it in because it's probably going to melt the plastic. But the point is, I'm building that sort of core center, right? And once I've got a little bit more figured out, I'm working on this document. Once I finish the document, I'll probably publish it somewhere, and then we can actually start getting things done. And then in the meanwhile, I'll also be working with a few people in real life. And yeah, and if anyone else has any ideas like to start us off with in terms of tracks, then you know, this is the perfect time to start working on your own music. You know, start working on something that you can pitch to the email band when it fully begins. You know, and it can be any genre. You know, I mean, I like the sort of prog, sort of psychedelic rock, sort of leanings, right? And you know, the album will probably sound like that. I'd like the albums to sound cohesive. So if you do come out with something completely out of left field, it probably won't make the album, but we'll still release it. We'll release it as its own thing, or maybe make a couple little bits around it. You know, make a tiny EP or something. That's kind of the idea. It's about collectivized creativity. And I realized that creativity is the most creative when there's almost like a limit, you know. I mean, how are you going to think outside the box if you're not given a box to think outside of? That's kind of my point. And I think with that, I'm gonna probably have a good one. You know, so take care, everybody. I'm gonna try and do this again. Yeah, like a supergroup of average people, pretty much. And you know, I imagine some people will be more regular than others. You know, some people might drop in once in a while. Some people might be the John Lennon equivalent, and you'll see their presence all over most of the songs. You know, it's up to the individual how far involved you want to get with it. You know. And also, I just need to figure out once I do a bit more talking to people in real life. I want to find a real life consultant who can work on some kind of like Discord or like place for us to actually meet up, because Discord does seem to be the one that works the best for everyone. It's just I'm not very good at Discord, so I need someone in real life that can explain it to me like I'm an old granddad. Because look, have you noticed I'm going grey? I'm going grey a lot. Am I going grey here? Fuck me, that's not good. Christ, I'm going grey there. I'm 27. I just turned 27, right? Hence the whole thing about birthdays earlier, right? So if I'm going grey already, the point is that I need someone in real life to figure out the Discord thing, and that will be, yeah. I really didn't want to turn 27 because of that. Yeah, it's freaky. Oh well. I mean, Amy Winehouse got into the 27 club and she died way after all the others. And she was probably a fair bit, better. Yeah, well, we'll figure it out. As long as I survive the next 361 days, it's not a leap year next year, is it? Nah, it won't be, will it? So yeah, that's going to be it from me. I feel like I'm starting to ramble off. Partly because I'm so dehydrated, partly because I haven't done this in a long time, like the talking to camera thing, that I feel like I'm a bit rusty. So I'm going to try and get back into it, doing it more. I'm going to try and make a point to film a video tomorrow. Might not be uploaded tomorrow. Probably won't be uploaded tomorrow. In fact, like 99.9% chance it won't be uploaded tomorrow. But I'm going to try and film something tomorrow, just to get myself back into the groove. Because once you get into the groove, things do go well. I recognize all of that stuff from what I was teaching in those videos. It's like I've forgotten it. So when I go back to those old videos, it's like someone else is talking. You know what I mean? I think your atoms change every 10 years. So I'm wondering if like all my atoms have changed in the last few months. Not literally, obviously, but that kind of thing. Anyway, take care, everybody. Have a good one. Ta-ta. Bye-bye.